Alright, what is up, y'all? We're here today for week 6 of the PCL, going up against our homie Austin, aka GarchompTheGod, the commissioner of the league, and one of our best friends in the community, the little draft league, Pokemon, the Geek Squad, the whole thing, you know. But, so, look at this man's team. Right off the bat, we're gonna skip pleasantries and shit, because holy fuck, this man's team is just crazy. So, right off the first thing I notice is that he has 4 things on this team that most people would pick one of and then continue to build a team around. 4 things that are such big threats to every draft league team that most people would be content with just having one of them and then 10 or 11 support mons behind it. So, to start off, you have a Zygarde 50. That thing can 6-0 teams on its own. You don't even need any other Pokemon. You need one Zygarde 50 and then something with Stealth Rocks and then you just win. That's it. Then, you have a Magearna, which is arguably even bigger of a threat because it's banned in most draft leagues, and it's just ridiculously bulky. It pretty much eats every hit, no matter what. It can shift gear up, can Calm Mind, can Trick Room, can just be Assault Vest and pivot around after eating every single hit ever. There's a ton of things Magearna can do. I've seen a couple physical Magearnas put in a fuckload of work versus bulkier teams as well. Then, he has a Z Manaphy, which, again, is just unnecessary on this team because he already has so many fucking threats. Z Manaphy is another mon that's just a team on its own, you know? And then last but not least is a Mega Pinsir, which I've seen people take first round and then build around and just destroy people's lives. So he's got 4 giant, huge threats, and I'm assuming all of those motherfuckers are coming because why wouldn't you bring the big 4, you know? So it's already been 2 minutes. I'm just rambling at this point. Let's get into our team. So, if you notice, his only removal is going to be the Mantine, I believe. Yep, only the Mantine, and which is weird because it's a defogger, not a spinner. He has the Shuckle, which can potentially stack rocks and webs. He has Bronzong as another potential rocker, and thankfully he didn't have any spikes that we have to deal with. But I was watching his previous battles, and honestly, Austin's odd to play because his playstyle varies, I think, just depending on the day. The last time I played Austin in a draft league battle was one of the craziest battles I've ever had. That man was making reads every single turn, predicting, making doubles every 4 turns, and it was ridiculous. It was really fun to play, and it's also really when you're in the game and there's offensive pressure on both teams, and you're if I make this double, if he calls me on making that double, I lose the game, but I'm going to make it anyways, you know? So shit like that, just super pressured offensive teams, and but I got a plan. So I was looking at his previous battles, and he brings Tangrowth almost every week, which makes sense because it's a good one. And like I said, his only removal is Mantine. So I have not a Sash lead, but a Shuka lead Excadrill here with Stealth Rock, EQ, Toxic, and Rapid Spin. This thing just guarantees that no matter what he has out front, I will either outspeed or I will live a hit, and I can get off my rocks. As long as I can get those rocks up, everything will be golden. That man has a Mega Pinsir, that man has a Shuckle, an Alolan Marowak, Mantine, Honchkrow, and then everything, 12% on any mon is always going to be nice. So I really need those rocks up. And being adamant, we are hitting hard as fuck. We have speed for the, what is it here? I believe it's the Honchkrow? Yeah, it should be the Honchkrow. And so just if he wants to run Jolly Max Speed Honchkrow, if it's not Scarf, we can outspeed. And something like a Scarf Honchkrow superpower is one of the few things that can actually OHKO us, I believe. But Excadrill here has very, very good base HP, as you know. So even with just a tiny bit of bulk, it's actually able to live a few decent hits from his team. And like I was saying a second ago, he has been leading with Tangrowth a few times, so I'm completely fine with that trade. If he wants to lead Tangrowth and go for 3 Giga Drains and try to kill me, that's fine. I will Toxic that boy, I will set up my Stealth Rocks, and I will figure out something from there. That's fucking fine with me. Then, also you'll notice we are Mold Breaker. Then, I have another Mold Breaker mon. I wanted to bring the dual Mold Breaker core because once that Bronzong is gone, my team has a hell of a lot easier of a time just winning. I have spoilers, but there's a Scarf Kartana involved, there is a Jolteon involved, there's a Tapu Lele involved. So all those things are very hindered by Bronzong, or force me to lock myself into moves that can't really sweep the rest of the team. So I do want to make sure that Bronzong is gone so I can win with the rest of my team. So double Life Orb, double Earthquake, double Mold Breaker, double Earthquake is going to be clean. This is just to kind of standard Hexorus set with DD, EQ, Dragon Claw, and X-Scissor. X-Scissor is going to be specifically for that Tangrowth. He is going to just eat pretty much every hit. And I got to scout and see what it's going to be. If it's Assault Vest or something like that to try to deal with Lele / Jolteon, that makes it a little easier to deal with Hexorus. But if it's physically defensive, then like to deal with this Hexorus and probably my Sandcore as well, then he's going to have a hard time dealing with Lele plus Pyroar plus Jolteon here. So we'll see. We got to scout. We got to count damage, and we got to see what's going on with all that. Next, we have a Babiri Berry Lele. Now, you're looking at that set, and you're like, oh god, Shaden's brought some dumb shit again. What's he got this time? So, we have Psych Up, Psychic, Shadow Ball, and Hidden Power Fire. Now, I know Austin. I know that man. His favorite thing to do in the world is to click setup. Like, that's just his playstyle. Most of the time, it's just going to be SD in your fucking face and then sweep you. So, my plan is to get enough damage on the Magearna to be able to OHKO it with HP Fire at +1, and you're like, Shaden, you don't have Calm Mind, what the fuck is going on? Psych up, bitch. So, we have the Babiri Berry, we live any hit from Magearna, even at +1 because of Tapu Lele's natural bulk. If he wants to go for Flash Cannon, we live in. If he goes for Fleur Cannon, that might be a different story, but then at least he kills his own boost, so it's not necessarily terrible. And things are going to look clean, right? So, if I can just weaken Magearna down to about half with anything. So if he is like a Shukaberry set, either the Earthquakes will do. Thunderbolt, while not quite doing half, it still does a decent chunk because I do have a pretty clean Jolteon set. And then Scarf Tana being able to lock himself into stuff like Sacred Sword or what's it called, Smart Strike is going to be able to do a large chunk. And then we got the fire type in the back, the Trash Kitty. Also, you'll notice all these nicknames are kind of different than usual. These are all just like either inside jokes with Austin or just something just kind of talking poop about him or something. I figured I'd try to trigger him just a little bit and just bring some dumbass nicknames. So that's that. But like I said, basically Tapu Lele can actually sweep this man's team. Just because if he gets to +2 speed and +1 special attack with Magearna, and he's at about half health, I can take those boosts, live any hit, kill him with the HP Fire, and then proceed to just dick down the entirety of his team, and it's going to be awesome, let me tell you. If this can work out, I'm going to be the happiest motherfucker this side of the Mississippi. Good golly. Next, we have Not Coco, the Expert Belt Modest Jolteon. HP Ice, Shadow Ball, Signal Beam, Thunderbolt, 4 attacks, we don't even need no Volt Switch. It just destroys the team. Honestly, it has coverage. I think it hits literally every Mon on his team except for Shuckle super effectively. Shuckle and Raichu. Shuckle, Raichu, and Magearna. Everything else it hits super effectively. And with Shuckle and Magearna, obviously Thunderbolt is stabbing going to be doing a decent amount. And then Shuckle's a Shuckle. Even if you hit that thing super effectively, it doesn't fucking die. So there's no point in running like, HP Water or whatever the hell I'd be able to hit it with. So Jolteon is just a nice win con in the back. It outspeeds every single thing on his team. His fastest Mon is going to be the Raichu, which I don't really see coming because I have Sand and a bunch of other stuff that Raichu does not like to deal with. So, yeah, Jolteon is a huge win con. I'm able to run Modest, like I said, because his Raichu, if it does come, I'm still going to put speed for it, even though I don't expect it to come, because I'm not retarded, but it hits 178, we hit 179, just in case. That allows us to hit Modest and have 28 HP, just in case. So that's going to, I know it's only 28, but really all we need to be able to do is live a potential E-Speed and maybe a Quick Attack. But in the Psychic Terrain, the likelihood that he's going to have those isn't very big, and Having Lele in the back to switch in if he does go for a priority move is going to make him second guess. If he does have it, it's going to make him second guess to click it. So that's Jolteon. You guys know I love Jolteon. And kind of the joke with Austin is everybody says he always drafts Coco Lucha, which in reality he's only drafted once, but he's had Coco several times. So everybody's like, oh, Austin Coco Lucha, blah, blah, blah. So he doesn't like that, so I figured I'd name him those. Also, he tried to get me to trade him Excadrill. I'm pretty sure he was just kidding, but I still figured it'd be funny to do that. And then, yeah, we'll go over Trash Kitty in a minute. So, like I said, we got Scarf Kartana with Leaf Blade, Knockoff, Smart Strike, and X-Scissor. X-Scissor just to be able to hit that goddamn Tangrowth, and pretty much just everything else, just other stuff that I can just lock myself into and potentially win in the end. So, it's Kartana, man. I love Kartana. Honestly, it's one of my favorite Pokemon. Easily my favorite Ultra Beast. and I think it pairs pretty well, especially with the Scarf. It pairs very well with the Tapu Lele, not being able to be hit by priority moves and whatnot. So the goal of this team is to get up rocks and then kind of not volt around, but kind of weaken stuff with everything, and then just be able to clean up with either this or Jolteon in the end. Also, Haxorus can, depending on what I'm in front of, I can DD, but we'll see. And then last but not least, we have Trash Kitty the Pyroar with the Normalium Z, Hyper Voice, Fire Blast, Dark Pulse, Hidden Power Electric. This is another thing that hits almost every single thing on his team super effectively. Things that I can't hit super effectively are going to be the Zygarde, and like HP Electric for the Manaphy is there, but I ain't clicking that. I'm pretty sure Hyper Voice does more anyways. But we do have the Normalium Z to be able to Z-REEEEEE at these motherfuckers, so Pyroar, like we've talked about in the past, isn't the strongest mon, but with a Z move, it's going to do some damage. And then we also have Unnerve. So if he does want to be whatever Baryon, whatever mon, we are going to be able to go at least hit those. And this thing, like I said, it has a pretty decent matchup, which is crazy because it's a Pyroar, you know? And Austin actually came down to visit us for Warp Tour, and we hung out for the weekend and whatnot. And we made a joke. Well, I call them. There's these cats that live in like the dumpster area behind my house, and I call them trash kitties. When I told Austin that they were trash kitties, he was like, "What the fuck, man? You can't just be calling those trash kitties. Those are good kitties." He was talking about debating if he wanted to grab one or not. So we got Trash Kitty the Pyroar, and that's gonna be the team. I'm really satisfied with the prep this week. I think it's a really solid team. It's straight up hyper offense, very little bulk on any mon, but I think it's going to get the job done, and I think it's going to match up very well versus Austin's playstyle. So with that, let's jump into the battle. So as you can see, he brings Bronzong, Tangrowth, that's going to be his nice defensive core, Pinsir, Magearna, Zygarde, and Manaphy. So Manaphy can be a Z-move user, Raichu can be a Z-move user. He didn't bring Raichu. Safe to assume it's going to be Manaphy. Also safe to assume Magearna's going to be Shift Gear, just because Bronzong. One thing I was worried about with Austin's team is a Trick Room variant of Bronzong, and Magearna can put in a lot of work versus me, but I've heard Austin say time and time again how bad he hates running Trick Room, so I'm going to just hope to God that that doesn't come again, because it can put a huge stop in our plans here. So, like I said, I'm just going to lead off with Excadrill. We're going to get our rocks up, we're going to toxic stuff, whatever we got to do. He's going to lead right off with his rocker, which is the Bronzong. Unless he's Shook-a-Berry, I fucking Oko him. Oh, also, one more thing we should bring up before this battle quite starts. I'm in Austin's front office. I usually help him build. I love building. It's any opportunity I get to help people build teams, I'll almost always take it unless I'm super busy. Because I love building teams. It helps me as a builder and as a player. So, I had to tap out this week because he's playing me. So, Austin got tired of losing. We should have discussed too. He's 0-5 at this point. I'm 2-3, which isn't great. But this man went out and got Gypsy King's advice. Got him some nice notes from the King himself, the best draft league player probably ever to have ever been. So I'm scared as fuck. Honestly, you can't just go out. You can't, go out and play against a member of your front office and just get the best of the best to help you. That is not. I call hacking. I call shenanigans. I call collusion. This is horseshit. I already hate this. Anyways, Excadrill forces this man out with an Earthquake, unless he's Shuka. And like where I was going with that was he has Gypsy King's prep on his team, so he could very well be Shuka. But I figured that probably wasn't going to be the case, so I just go for my rocks. Now he's in with Noodles the Tangro. I'm gonna just go for Toxic. I don't really care. If I can weaken this thing for the rest of my team and put it on a timer, it's going to be so incredibly worth it. So he goes right for the knockoff. Knocks off my Shooketh Berry, and that's not cool because now Thousand Arrows kind of dicks me down. Oh well. So I'm going to save this. I still have him as a spinner in case he does get his rocks up, because I do have a Fire type and stuff like that on my team. So I'm going to go right to Trash Kitty. It is Trash Kitty's time to shine. If he goes for the Earthquake, good on him. He does not. He goes for the Giga Drain. Nice Giga Drain. Does a surprising chunk to the mon that is Trash Kitty, but he's taking some damage. So now I overpredict here. I figured he was going to go into Manaphy. I didn't want to let that thing get a retail glow up, so I go for the REEEEEE, because REEEEEE into Z-REEEEE actually took out the Manaphy after rocks, and he just goes for the knockoff. But that's fine. He didn't have Earthquake. He didn't do anything super crazy, so that's fine. I can just once again, and take out the Tangrowth. That is a kill for Pyroar in the books. So, like we discussed, Pyroar has a pretty decent matchup versus him, and no matter what he brings in, I can do a lot of damage to it. So he brings in Zygarde. I do not want to let this man set up a Dragon Dance for free, which is what it's looking like he's about to do. So I'm going to go ahead and just fire off my Z-REEE. Z Hyper Voice, nice and autistic. Boom. Trash Kitty, it's not playing around today. Look at that majestic mane. So we're going to go for the Breakneck Blitz. Y'all, I never see this animation, but look at that. He's just he's just flying at him. And that does a sizable chunk. Based on that damage and the fact that he has Glare, I'm going to go ahead and assume he's bulky as shit, because that was supposed to do about 75%. It does a little bit over half. The leftovers take him to like right at what, 48, 49%, somewhere in there, maybe 45. And then he actually has Earthquake over 1,000 arrows, which does make sense versus my team because I do not have a flying type. So, a little bit of that Gypsy King prep coming in right there. So, honestly, as long as this thing doesn't set up a Dragon Dance, it's kind of fine with me. I don't really care. And I can go right on out into Jolteon. Click that Modest Expert Belt HP Ice. We know he's not Yachi because he already revealed the leftovers. I can just click that and everything will be all fine and dandy. He's going to go out and Tinkerbot the Magearna. And I'm going to go for the HP Ice. I ain't trying to predict, you know, I just want that thing dead. That boy's a threat. So, HP Ice does a considerable chunk considering that is a Magearna, but it does enough to where I know it's not Assault Vested. He looks to be more offensive. So I'm going to go into my Excadrill. I should live just about any hit from this thing unless he has something along the lines of Focus Blast. So he's going to go for the Shift Gear, and basically at this point, I just have to scout his set. If he has Aura Sphere, I am in trouble, but it is a roll to kill. So he's going to go for the Aura Sphere. Of course he has it, because it would just blow back Kartana in this. And Excadrill lives on a clutch 5 HP, fires off the Adamant Earthquake, and absolutely blows back this Magearna. So, crisis averted, +2. Magearna did not just destroy me, but that means that our Tapu Lele tech is kind of wasted now. But oh well, if that thing's gone and I don't have to worry about it, that's fine. I don't need it. So he's gonna go for the Waterium Z. I'm assuming since Excadrill's on 5%, at this point in the game, I'm assuming he's not going to go for Hydro Vortex, he's probably going for Z Rain Dance, and that's exactly what he does. Just makes it rain. Fat Joe in this bitch. And I'm clicking Earthquake. Honestly, I don't really need Excadrill anymore. It's taking care of most of the things it needs to. He still has Bronzong in the back, but as long as I have my other mold-breaking Earthquaker, we should be just fine. So, Adamant Earthquake does a fuck ton to Captain the Manaphy, and he's going to take me down with the Skull. So, that's fine. Excadrill, you put in massive amounts of work. Fucking shoutouts to you, buddy. 2 weeks in a row. So now we can go into Tapu Lucha, the Tapu Lele. I'm not Choice Scarf. Like I said, I'm Babiri Berry. Even if I was Choice Scarf, he would still outspeed me. But with Tapu Lele's natural special defense, and the fact that we don't really need this anymore, he just goes for the Skull. That's going to do about half. It's rain boosted, but still, you know, does a little bit over half. Psychic is going to take off Manaphy, though, and things are looking clean. So, now he can go into his Bronzong, which is a bit of a problem. I'm assuming he's going to want to set rocks or something like that. He could have also gone into Mega Pinsir and just clicked the return, but I guess he didn't want to deal with me he didn't want to have to predict me being Scarf. So funny enough, the Babiri Berry is going to pop on this Bronzong, who goes for Heavy Slam. There's no way we're living that, even with the berry. Tapu Lele is not very heavy, and Bronzong is going to be pretty fucking heavy. Yeah, it's just lefties. But now we know for sure skis this thing is in range of the Mold Breaker from Life Orb Haxorus. I forgot to make it shiny this week. That's on me. And, oops. But, yeah, we can just click Earthquake. He doesn't have a lot of good switch into this. If he did want to go into something like Mega Pinsir, I wasn't really too worried about it because like I said, he can't go for priority moves, so my Scarf Kartana would still take him out. He would take Rocks damage, he would take a little bit of chip from the Earthquake, and he just stays in anyways. So now he's going to Beelzebub, which I hate that nickname. Austin hates my nickname, I hate his. It's understandable, you know. He can just fire off a return, depending on his investment. If he is just like max attack, he's probably going to just blow me away. but there was a small chance I could live because Hexorus doesn't have bad physical defense, but that HP bar went down so fucking fast. That boy just drops. We both have offense, you know, so this thing is a threat, and it's kind of just a game of sacks at this point. So now I can just go for the Thunderbolt, take out the Beelzebub. He can't go for a quick attack if he did have it because of psychic terrain, obviously. And now the weirdness is going to disappear, but since I have not taken any damage on my Jolteon, even a Bandit Extreme Speed would not kill me. We have seen that he is lefty, he's not banded, he's very, very bulky. So, modest, expert belt, Jolteon is going to take out the Zygarde with HP Ice, no matter what. And that is GG. Shoutouts to Austin. He had some pretty cool stuff on his team. Shoutouts to Gypsy King, because obviously that man is the goatest of all time. So, that was our Week 6 battle. We are now 3-3. We started off with 3 losses, and that was devastating. But we've slowly brought it back to be on a 3-game winning streak now, and we play Die next week. So hopefully we can make this into 4. You know what I'm saying? But yep, go ahead and subscribe, do all that bullshit, and make sure you check out Austin's video if you haven't already. He does live comm, and I love watching people's live comms versus me, because I usually bring some dumb shit, and the reaction to it is usually hilarious. And I imagine he's gonna have some stuff to say about the nicknames. So definitely check that out. And yeah, that's just about do it for me. Bye forever.